truth. Really, that's all we know. Keep it real and authentic. This truth be told. Only the truth. Tune in, cause you gotta watch. It's like you with us while we kick it in the barbershop. Here to motivate and inspire. Hosted by the real deal and the God Barber. I hope that you ready. Keep it funny and edgy. Let's go. You already know. Truth be told. Let's go.
I was born by the river. Hey, listen, y'all, we back, man. We back, man. It's season 8. It's season 8. We finna crank this thing back up again, man. So listen, y'all. Please, y'all, please follow us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, man. I'm trying to get 10 million subscribers, man. I don't think that's hard to do. And hit us up on Facebook too, man. We Facebook Live, man. We doing our thing, man. This truth be told, man. This truth be told, man. I'm the God Barber, man. Please follow us, man, because I was born by the river.
Green, I like that river thing you got going on, man. Look at my T-shirt, though, bro.
What?
You like that?
Yeah, I like that, boy.
All right, man. Listen, man. If y'all looking for a top-notch, I mean top-notch printing service, Green.
Yeah.
You know we was able to get a partner through Print Fanatics. So if you guys looking for that, man, you look no further. We got my boy James Lee. Y'all hit up James Lee, man, at that number provided for you, man. If you need anything, T-shirts, banners, hats, Green, whatever it is, man, my boy James got it at Print Fanatics. Y'all go holler at my boy. T Green, baby, we back. We back with season 8, man. I'm so happy to be back, man. It was a long break. Longer than normal, you know what I'm saying? We normally take, 3?
Yeah, man. I didn't know it was that long, man. We was off what?
Well, it was out 4.
4 weeks?
Yeah, maybe I had to take 4th of July off, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
gotta do something special.
Yeah.
For the cause, I guess.
Yeah. Season 8 is going to be great.
Oh, that's what they say?
Yeah, season 8 is great. Oh, season 8 is going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be great?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great.
And just speaking, you know, in terms of season 8, I can't think, you know what I'm saying? I always kind of say this. I don't know if y'all been catching on to this, but, hey, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because we got a whole heap of we got a good lineup, man.
Well,
we got a good lineup, and I think tonight, you guys are gonna be thoroughly. I think you're gonna enjoy the show. Green, I don't know about you. I mean, we spoke a little bit earlier. Yeah. You know, and it's something dear to us because I think at this point everybody's been kind of touched by this disease. So. I know when I was speaking to you earlier, you were kind of talking about your brother a little bit, and how excited you was to just have this opportunity to talk to Doc tonight.
Yeah, man, I'm ready, man. I'm ready to sit down and find out about this situation that everybody can relate to.
Right.
What I mean, everybody can relate to what we're gonna talk about tonight, man. So I hope everybody tune in.
Yeah.
Sit back and relax. If you still got leftover barbecue from 4th of July, throw it in the garbage because that's a long time ago, man. Throw that food away, man. Y'all stop holding on to them reels, man. It's over.
It's over?
Yeah, man. Them things frostbitten, man. Throw them reels away, man. So make some fresh soul food tonight and sit back.
And relax.
Man.
Well, listen, man. I'm your host, man, Reggie. The real deal, Davis, I guess. That's what they say.
Real deal.
And my co-host, Terry, the God Barber Green, baby, is in the house. So, hey, man.
You call me Terry.
Terry? A lot of people don't call you Terry, do they?
I forgot my name was Terry. Why they call me T Green?
Yeah, they call you T Green, man.
I saying Terry.
Terry.
Mama, he called me Terry.
Well, your mama called you that, baby.
Yeah, my mama called me that now.
Well, Green, let's go ahead and get started, man. Listen, man.
Let's get into it.
Tonight, man, I got somebody that came to us. Actually, I met Doc a couple years back. It's been a pleasure just getting to know him. Had an opportunity to get to know him a little bit better on a little trip. But, you know, he's been working with our homeboy, Dominic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dominic Harris.
Yeah, Dominic, man.
The fastest guy in Sarasota.
Fastest guy in Sarasota, yeah.
That's what he said.
Oh, yeah.
So we gonna talk a little bit about that too. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into that. But I want to bring him in, man. He's a skilled researcher and author of many scientific articles, right?
Yeah.
Board certified radiation oncologist, over 20 years of experience, rated as one of the top doctors at his firm. I don't know if you want to say firm or the Advocate, right, program. Also, man, I know you're using some really cool technology and techniques when we talk about the services that he's providing to his clients. Also affiliated with several hospitals around here, husband and also a father, Dr. Dwight Fitch.
All right. Thank you. Oh,
Hey, man.
no, I appreciate y'all having me.
Man, so happy to have you here, man. It's so funny because Doc, my boy, you know what I'm saying? I called Doc up one day and said, hey, man, would you mind coming on the show? And without hesitation, he said he agreed. So I definitely appreciate you coming.
I appreciate the invite, truly.
So I want to kind of jump right into it. Kind of first start off by, I know you're not from Bradenton.
Right.
But you've been in Bradenton for quite some time, right?
17 years now.
17 years. So where you coming from? And also, not only where you come from, but talk a little bit about what school you went to.
Gotcha. Well, first and foremost, I'm from Detroit, and when you're from Detroit, you're always from Detroit. So that's one thing that Detroiters always have is a bunch of pride, mainly because, growing up in the early 80s, Detroit just was not the popular place to be. Like all our best accolades, murder capital of the country, and crack waved over the city. So we all kind of grew up with you from the city, you love the city. So when I go places now, even though I've been in Bradenton 17 years, I always have to say I'm from Detroit, but I live in Florida. Right. Now, with that being said, honestly, even though I'm living in Bradenton, I more relate, to be honest with you, to probably the North Sarasota, Newtown, because I've been in Newtown pretty much weekly, a couple times a week for 16 years now.
Right.
And that started just because when I met the folks down there, it just reminded me of the city.
Right.
So as far as I was born and raised in Detroit and inside the city, because it's something else you find out when you talk to people that say I'm from Detroit. They oftentimes are from around Detroit. So there's a lot of suburbs that people will start claiming the D until you go and start asking them, what you know about Fenkell? What you know about Joy Road, West Side, East Side, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I went to school, downtown Detroit, Cass Tech, came out in 93, went to University of Michigan, go Blue.
Go Blue. I see it this time. Go Blue.
I was at University of Michigan for undergraduate. I did a degree in chemical engineering, and I stayed there for medical school. And then I went to residency right outside of Detroit for another 5 years.
Okay.
And then I came down here, my first job, actually down here in Bradenton.
First job.
Been down here 17 years since then.
What?
Wow.
Yep.
So can you kind of explain the role of a radiation oncologist?
Yes, I definitely will, because honestly, it's something that, a lot of people don't know what they are, right? If you look at all the medicine, radiation oncologists represent about 0.5% of all doctors, right? So in oncology, which is the study of cancer, you have 3 different types of doctors. You got a surgical oncologist, so they cut out cancers. You got a medical oncologist who gives chemotherapy or pills. And then you got a radiation oncologist that uses high energy x-rays, right? So think about x-rays like the same ones you get at your chest or if you're the dental office of your teeth. Exact same machine, but imagine that machine was making x-rays about a factor of 6 stronger. So for instance, an x-ray for your teeth may be 100, what they call kVp, so kilovolts. When I'm treating cancer, I use 6 million volts. So the machine is bigger, but it's still x-rays. So some cancers use x-rays for by itself, like some lung cancers, some prostate cancers. Some cancers use chemotherapy, like leukemias. Some cancers use both, like rectal or colon cancer. Some cancers just surgery, like some melanomas. So it all depends on what kind of cancer it is, the stage, and how well the patient's doing.
Right. And I know with you using radiation, that's more effective towards certain cancers opposed to others, right?
Right, right.
So what exactly cancers do you kind of work with when it comes down to?
Gotcha. So basically, the best way to think about how radiation factors into that is like I primarily treat solid cancers. So that's anything basically except leukemias, some type of blastic lymphoma. So think about anything that's a solid. So lung, I treat a lot of lung. I treat a lot of head and neck cancer. I treat a lot of breast cancer, prostate, colon, rectal, bone, metastatic. So metastatic means the cancer started in one area and went to somewhere else. Skin cancer, brain, that sort of thing. So basically anything where you can see a target that's stable. So that's why I don't treat much lymphomas. I'm sorry, leukemias, because that's a blood cancer.
Okay.
Anywhere it's in the blood, so that's why you need medicine or chemo for that primarily.
All right. Yeah. That I knew it was some differences, but I just wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that, in your line, especially that you've been working in this field for so long, there's some misconceptions, all right, when it comes down to radiation therapy, right? Because I hear, which one you want, chemo or radiation, right? And I always hear, it's not good for you. People have to suffer so much doing it, right?
Right.
So what are some of the misconceptions? And then maybe, if you can clear up some benefits of using that.
I want to thank you for asking that question, because particularly, in our community, is, some of these misconceptions is rampant, been around since I was a kid. I'm gonna give you one of them. Oh, don't get surgery, you get cut open, the air hit it, that cancer gonna spread all over the place. That's up north, it's down south. That's one that's not true, right? A lot of times people forget that the reason some people do bad, like after they initially get diagnosed, they had a bunch of cancer to start with. So they just all of a sudden got a diagnosis, and now they think because of the surgery the cancer went everywhere, when in reality it kind of was already there. And oftentimes the cancer gets diagnosed at a late stage because of the second big problem, denial. Denial is the strongest force in nature. I see so many people, they got a tumor this big on the side of their neck. They come in to see me and I say, hey man, how long you had that? Oh, it just popped up 2-3 weeks ago. Man, no, that shit didn't. Nah, that didn't. Because it's much easier to ignore something than want to deal with it. So then by the time you come see me, it's already real bad. So whatever you do, the side effects is going to be bad. So then that leads into the next thing when people say, so-and-so was great until they got that chemo. That chemo killed them. Or they got the radiation and radiation killed them. Right. The problem with that is they forget that the reason you had to get chemo and radiation is because you had cancer. The cancer is what really got you, unfortunately. Right. So it's not that the treatments don't have side effects, but it's the cancer that's really the problem. So like if you get, if you pay more attention, less denial, more early detection, that's really what we're trying to preach. Like you decrease the stuff that increases your chance of getting cancer, like smoking, that kind of thing. But then also get your mammograms, get your PSA tests, get your physical exams. Like we don't like going to the doctor. Right. We really don't, right? But it's important because you still want to be here.
And when you say we,
boy,
we.
When you say we now, I know exactly what you mean by we.
Yeah. And we don't go into something till we feel something like we heard.
We don't go into it, until that point. A lot of times, I'm not gonna say everybody, but a lot of times.
But the thing is, though, a lot of us we pay into health insurance every month and don't even go check ourselves, man. Right. We just giving free money in the air, just throwing it out.
Yeah.
Right. But Doc, I'm gonna call you Doc.
Yeah, that's what everybody calls me.
I'm gonna tell you something, Doc. This conversation we gonna have tonight for me is gonna be real big for me. Just by looking at you, I know you said you went to the University of Michigan, but before you went there, I know you was in high school.
Yep.
Looked like you played football. Did you play football?
No, I actually didn't.
You didn't play football?
Nope. Just got to lifting when I was in undergrad. Kept going.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that because a lot of times when we see black guys that look fit, we automatically put sports with them. And by you coming from high school going to University of Michigan it's still medical school, right?
Yeah.
So what made you? Did you already know you was gonna go into medical school when you was in high school? Did you know that?
Right. No, honestly, I didn't. I was real lucky that really good teachers. You know, a lot of the cats down here, I found out that it's been like the high school coaches really kept them out of trouble, kept them busy. For me, honestly, it was a science department head and a couple of my counselors that they saw that I was a good student. I always got good grades.
Okay.
And my mom kept me out of the street. That's one thing she did do. We beefed, huge beef. But in retrospect, now I understand why she was doing it, because it was just a bunch of nonsense out there. Like, you know, I'm talking like the block I grew up on, there was obviously 1 or 2 crack houses on that block, and there was always a shooting. So, you know, if I wanted to go out and play, she was like, "Nah, you got to be on this porch when the lights come on." You know, so it was a function of having good grades. My teachers put me on that path. All I knew was I wanted to get out of my house. I left my house at 17, got a scholarship for college, and never went back. Right, you know, if it wasn't for the grades and you know really reading and paying attention, you know, I'd have been screwed really.
Yeah.
You know, so I went to college really on a scholarship just to get out of the crib. I was an engineer first. Then when I was in college, somebody was like, "Hey, you got to go to grad school in order to get ahead." So I said, "Well, you know, I think about medical school then, you know, because I liked school. By that point, I said, all I got to do is not fail my classes, and I can stay up here, and people gonna pay me to go to school." Man, it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect. Yeah. So that's kind of how it all transpired. I just kind of, honestly, I look back on it, and it was really just doing my best when I could, and paying attention to opportunities, and I had people looking out for me. You know, no one does it by themselves.
Yeah, man, because, you know, just looking at you, man, you special to me because we don't see. I didn't grow up knowing a black doctor of whatever practice.
Right.
You know, I'm talking about a black doctor. Now you from Detroit, you from the good, you from the hood.
Right.
We don't normally see that around here, man. You know, we see doctors that's our color, but they're from another country.
Right. Exactly.
But by you being the African American doctor right here in Manatee County, man, I done seen black dentists. I done seen we got principals, black, but a doctor from the hood.
Yeah.
Shoot, man, that's big, man. That's big. So I was really looking forward to this night, man, and by you being what you call a
Radiation Oncologist.
Radiation Oncologist, man. And I had a brother. Okay, he was diagnosed with Burkitt.
Burkitt lymphomas.
Lymphomas. Okay, back in 1980.
Wow.
Now I'm gonna tell you, this is my first time talking about my brother. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
My first time, because I was young back then. I was like 10 years old, 10 years old. So I didn't understand
What's going on?
what was going on. But back in 1980, it was only 500 cases
Right.
in the country, in the United States.
Yeah.
And he was one of the 500.
Yep.
And it seemed like last night when I was talking with my mom, and I did some studying on Burkitt lymphoma, and it's like been the first time I talked to my brother. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But it's spiritually. Spiritually, I talk with him, but I'm talking with him through this cancer. And when Rhea told me that we was gonna have you on the show, I was like, dang, man, this might be the time I can ask questions. You know, I really called my mom and really asked her what kind of cancer my brother had.
Yeah.
And when she told me it was Burkitt, and then you just said you studied the
What's it,
called
solid?
solid organ.
Yeah.
And that's what my brother had. You know, he had it in the abdominal area, you know, the intestines and stuff like that. So, and knowing back then, let's talk to my mom about him being one of the 500 in the United States. And she said my brother had bronchitis real bad. And he was, I guess it was getting kind of bad. My mom didn't really know what was going on. So she took him to the doctor. And then they found out, I mean, I'm just going fast.
Yeah.
They found out it was cancer.
Right.
It was Burkitt, whatever. I don't know if they found out it was Burkitt down here, but they didn't have the equipment down here during that time to treat it.
Right.
So she had to go to Maryland
Okay.
I think it's Bethesda,
Yeah,
Maryland.
Bethesda.
Bethesda.
Yeah.
What is called an institution?
Yeah, NIH.
NIH.
Mhm.
Okay. They paid for my mom transportation to go up there, back and forth. And when I learned about it, it took me back. It's like it took me back in my mom's mind. Like, golly, man, because my mom had to leave us down here at my grandma's house. And she had to fly up there.
Yeah.
And come to find out, Burkitt is so rapid.
Yep.
And they said once you find out that you have it, you got within 48 hours to try to do something about it.
Right.
Because it's so rapid, and when it's only affect at that time children.
For the most part, still, yeah.
Children. So by him being that young, the chemotherapy was too strong.
Mm-hmm.
They was using it, but they couldn't use it real heavy because a young child can't take it.
Right.
So really, he didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
Once they had it, he got it in 1980. Before 1981, he was gone.
Wow.
And I didn't really know my brother that well, But knowing that you was coming and made me, study a little bit, and I finally get to talk to my brother,
Yeah.
He probably in heaven saying, well, it's about time you say something to me, man. God dang,
Wow.
But it's real touching to me tonight, and I'm glad you're here, Doc, so I can get a little bit more information on it.
No, for sure.
I know it's like 3 types, but they mostly say if you catch it in Africa, you catch it mostly in your jawbone, jawbone area. But if it's anything outside of Africa, what they call non-Africa, that's when you catch it in the abdominal area and stuff like that. Then they got another one called ID, I guess,
Yeah.
where you catch it with AIDS or
Hey,
something
infectious
like that.
disease kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm here tonight, Doc, man. You can educate me on it a little bit more, man.
Yeah.
If I cry, I cry.
It's all
But I
right.
told Real One podcast, man, only time I cry, boy, when we win championships, baby. When we win championships. See, when you don't know nothing about no champ. My bad, when we ain't talking about Bay Show right now. Southeast, baby. But yeah, man, I'm so glad you're here, Doc, man. And I'm so glad that you, that's what your practice is, man. That's what you really work on, man. You work on the solid orgasm, man.
I've been
organism.
blessed. Yeah.
Not orgasm. I say orgasm.
You did.
God, dog it.
It's all good.
I was going to pass.
God, dog it.
It's all good. We'll use
Organs. Organs, man.
Where your head
Organs, man. Organs,
Where your
man.
head at, T Green?
Hey, organs, man. We ain't talking about no orgasm on the show, baby.
That's you later. That's
Hey,
you
mama,
later.
close your ears,
That's you
mama.
later. That's you later. That's you later.
But yeah, man. So I'm finally learning about my brother tonight, man. So,
I think that's awesome, man. And honestly, you brought on point with the real key points, right? So Burkitt's lymphoma, super rare, still super rare. A lot of people think that some of the origins is secondary to infection from a certain kind of virus. Like you said, in Africa, a lot of times it happens in the nasal pharynx, which is behind the nose. Affects children mostly. Definitely one of the most rapidly growing cancers. So the reason that you don't have a lot of time, as they say, is because it can start to rapidly populate in your bone marrow. So then, like, your bone marrow, look at it like a factory. In your bone marrow, which is in all your bones, that's where your red cells are made. So your hemoglobin carry oxygen. That's where your white cells are made, which, fight infection. Then that's like where your platelets are made too. So that's what keep you from bleeding. So normally, imagine it's like Ford Motor Company and these 3 lines just making everything in the right amount of proportion. If you get a cancer in that factory, so now all of a sudden the white cells, and that's what Burkitt's lymphoma is from, white cells, right? The white cells start making too many white cells, but it's taking up all the energy from the other cell lines. So now you don't have enough red cells, you don't have enough platelets, but you got a bunch of white cells. The white cells are cancerous, so they take up too much space. They make you anemic because your red cells don't have enough, room to work. You can start to bleed because you don't have enough platelets. They can start blocking up organs, so you have strokes, you have heart attacks. So that's what you end up actually dying from, an infection. And because Burkitt's lymphoma grows so rapidly because of the kind of mutation, that's why you kind of have to immediately start chemotherapy to try to kill it. Back in particularly 1980, the reason she was up at NIH is because those are the kind of cancers that you only treated on research protocols. The NIH, the National Institutes of Health, is funded by the government, And for really rare cancers, particularly for kids, they really are some of the leaders in trying to figure out the best programs. Like right now, if he had been diagnosed, he probably would have had a better chance, honestly. And that's true of a lot of cancers because A, he'd have had better access right up at All Children's, and B, they've done a bunch of studies now. They know now which regimens and what types of chemo to use to get higher cure rates. The one good thing about kids' cancers, it sucks that kids get cancer because there's no explanation. It's one of the worst things about what I do is when you have a child get cancer. Right. So you got people, in their 70s, 80s, they've been smoking for 30, 40 years. You don't want anybody to get cancer, but you can at least be like, okay, well, you enjoyed yourself, right?
Right.
Somebody 60, well, you had some 60 years. A 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 10-year-old get cancer, they ain't done nothing, so there's no way to explain it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is the majority of kid cancers are actually highly curable. So most kids get leukemias, like acute lymphocytic leukemias. Cure rate's like 90%. A lot of times they can get certain types of lymphomas. Cure rate, again, 80-90%. But the bad thing about cancer, some cancers are so aggressive, and particularly the rare ones, that, we fighting, steady getting more studies and more, research, is we got work to do, but it's better. But some cancers just are bad. They just bad to get them.
Because he died. He was 12 years old when he died. Yeah. He was 12.
You talked about research, right? And, this is something where I just hear all the time.
Yeah.
Right? COVID came out, man, it was a rush to get some type of vaccine.
Right.
Some available for the people. And before you know it, for a blink of an eye, there it was.
Mm-hmm.
Cancer, on the other hand, we've been dealing with cancer for a long time.
Right.
And even though the medicines and the equipment and everything is getting better, and we're having some success, but we don't have a cure yet. So everybody's still waiting for that cure.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that's donating money. We talked about Jimmy V. We talked about, even I know you were with the cancer support community and all that stuff. And, everybody wants money to help find the cure, right? How far are we?
Right.
I mean, where are we exactly when it comes down to that? I mean, I've done a little bit of research. I know there's other things that doctors have started doing, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but are we a long way off?
Right. Again, great question, because it's another one I hear all the time. And exactly as you said it. My other favorite one is why don't we have a cure for the common cold? Right? You can cure all this other stuff. The easiest way to describe it, and particularly using the COVID and the vaccine coming out versus cancer is not one disease. Cancer is about 100 different diseases. So that's the main reason why there's not a solid cure for cancer. Cancer, by definition, is uncontrolled proliferation of cells. To put it easy, your whole body is made up of trillions and trillions of cells, tiniest building block. Each cell in every organ is a little bit different. Each cell has a copy of what's called the DNA, or like an owner's manual, right? As long as everything goes according to plan, divides, dies, keep a balance. It gets a couple mutations, either by smoking or being overweight or just bad luck. Owner's manual gets messed up, DNA gets messed up, it keeps growing too much. If it grows without stopping, so that fail-safe to stop it, now it's a cancer. And because that can happen in every organ, every cell is different. Cells don't all act the same. Cells are sensitive to different things, sensitive to different chemotherapies and different mutations. That, in a nutshell, is why there's no cure to cancer as a whole. Now, as you said, we've made lots of progress. Even in my 20 years, I have patients now that 5, 6, 7 years out from cancers that they would have been dead from 6 months from 20 years ago. If you look at the overall survival rate for cancers in general over the last 20 years, it's higher by about 10%. I'm with you. I would love the day that there was a magic pill to cure all cancers. I've had family members die from cancer. A lot of times people say, well, this is my other favorite one. The money ain't in the cure, it's in the treatment, right? So they'll basically say, oh, they don't want to cure nothing. Them drug companies ain't gonna want to cure nothing.
Yeah, that's what everybody say.
But think about it this way.
They say.
Think about how rich that drug company would be if they had a cure for cancer.
Yeah.
If they had the cure, they use it.
Yeah.
They use it. My other favorite one, think about Steve Jobs. He had more money than God. He still died of cancer. So if there was a way to cure cancer, he'd have had it, right? So though I understand the frustrations, the truth of the matter is more than one disease. It's by definition, cancer cells are your own cells that mutate, right? So you get a treatment and you fight that 100 cells got that mutation. You can kill 99 of them, but if one cell mutates again so that treatment doesn't work, that one cell continues to divide. That's why cancers come back. So it's really hard to get rid of 100% of the cells because it's so tiny and everyone has different access to the blood. The chemotherapy is different. So, it's actually in reality, it's difficult to completely cure, but it is getting better.
Getting better.
Yeah, it's getting better.
So, but chemo, when cancer patients get chemotherapy, that mostly kill all the cells.
Good question again, man. Chemo will, pardon my French, beat the shit out of you.
Oh, okay.
Truly. With that being said, it doesn't kill all of the cells. So what really happens is it can affect all the cells, but it's a difference in what they call repair capacity. So like tumor cells can't fix themselves as much as normal cells can. So for instance, you get chemotherapy, you get sick to the stomach, or you lose your hair, right? Your hair will come back, but those same cells that get killed, the cancer cells, if everything works right, they won't come back. So is that difference between being able to fix themselves, right? The new generation of chemo is even better because instead of having like a carpet bomb where you just like blanketing the whole city,
Right.
chemo agents now are more targeted, right? So the medicines are kind of, let's say like a smart bomb. They're only going after tumors or going after cells with a certain mutation. So the side effects are less and the response rates are better. So that's really where treatments are going. The other thing that's happening too is that they're getting closer and closer to being able to diagnose cancers easier on blood tests, and they're getting closer and closer to hopefully coming out with like different vaccines that can help your own body fight against developing the cancers.
So, and speaking of that, that's what do they call it?
Immunotherapy.
Immunotherapies. So, my understanding is kind of how that works is with cancer, for whatever reason, your immune system can't go and attack because the cancer is kind of under the radar, undetected, or got a force field around it that doesn't allow you to do it. Right. So I guess it keeps spreading, and maybe at some point you catch it. Right. So I heard of a study from the University of Duke when they were using polo. And I know they use that. They actually use, I think polo is kind of, it can cause people to, I can't move no more. What's that called?
Polo?
No.
Paralysis.
Yeah, paralysis. So, when they started that study and that research, they were a little bit afraid to do that. But they actually did that on a couple people. And to my surprise and to theirs, what it did was it attacked to drop that wall down so that your immune system can finally get in there and attack. Right? So is that therapy becoming, or would you say that's a lot more safer than to do the radiation and chemo?
Right.
Or is about the same dangerous?
Right. Gotcha. Good question again. So the first thing, another misconception is like with cancer, it's not so much of a catching cancer. Like you develop cancer because you got certain mutations in your system. So sometimes I'll get people who get it and they're like, oh, they scared to be around other people because they don't want to give it to them and catch. You can't catch cancer. Ain't no cancer you can catch.
So it ain't contagious.
Ain't no cancer you can catch.
You hear that a lot, boy.
You hear a whole lot.
Boy got cancer.
You hear a whole lot. Yeah, you hear a whole lot. So you can't catch cancer. The second thing is that immunotherapy is a little bit different than like these polio vaccines, right? So immunotherapy basically means that you're trying to train your own immune system to fight the cancer cells. To your point, that's exactly the problem. Because they're your own cells, your body can't identify them. So the way your immune system works, if you have a virus, if you have a germ, your body's kind of marching around, got these little soldiers called lymphocytes, white blood cells, right? Their whole job is to run around your blood system and look for anything that's foreign. So they see chickenpox, they see measles, they see common cold. They say, yo, we jumping all over you. Cause an inflammatory response because they try to fight it, wall off an abscess or something. So it's all about finding something that's foreign, right? If you have a cancer, again, that means it developed from your own cells. So it looks like your own tissue. So your immune system can't really see it all the time because it looks like its own tissue. immunotherapy, what it actually does is it tries to say, okay, it tries to find certain small differences in the tumor cell and then basically train your immune system to see those differences. So the most common immunotherapies now that they're using is one's called Keytruda, another one's called Opdivo. You see lots of commercials about them. They use them in a bunch of different cancers now. And those treatments have really been game changers in terms of like people are living much longer. Right. Now, are they true cures that get rid of everything? No. But are some people living like from, it's extending the survival from before maybe 1 year to like 6-7 years. So that's real. I mean, that's a real improvement. Mm-hmm. And they're doing that with a lot of times fewer side effects in the chemotherapy and radiation. Right now, those treatments are used more so as second and third line, sometimes first line treatments. But you still got to do like the surgery, still for some cases need radiation. And then lastly, what you were talking about with the polio vaccine, what they're trying to do with that in the most recent studies are actually trying to give you a vaccination like the COVID vaccine. Mm-hmm. So they give you this vaccination, and the reason they use a polio vaccine, they use an inactive version of it. So like it allows you to sort of like as a carrier, carry in like the pieces of the cancer cell so your body can identify them. So then when it sees that on a real cancer cell, your immune system goes after it without you having to get an infusion. I think that's really the future, like in the next 10, 15 years, and keep on doing studies on that. And we'll see what turns out. You know, I always joke that hopefully it'll end up being like World War Z. You ever see that movie?
Yeah, yes sir. Yes, sir.
Because
yes, sir.
that was I'm not
I
no
see,
I am
I heard about it.
no I Am Legend.
I Am
Legend.
Legend.
And I Am Legend. Legit. The premise of that movie was basically like, you know, they gave a vaccine for cancer and it cured everybody's cancer. Then about 3 months later, everybody became zombies. So, but that's just a joke. It's just a joke. Yeah. They gonna have real life.
So listen, so the money that's been raised for cancer every year. So that money going towards what? The medicine, the machines,
the research. So basically, you have all these different labs, all these different teams of researchers that basically have to have the money in order to conduct the studies. So you got to have money to have 1,000 people and follow those people and check the results. You got to have that money to create the medicines. You got to have that money to have the buildings. You got to have that money to pay the researchers. You know, so that's where all that goes.
Yeah.
I understand people's like, you know, like, hey, you know, Jimmy V just made $80 million. Where that money going?
Yeah.
I get it. But it really is expensive to conduct the research because a lot of these companies that do the research here in the States, those medicines end up being, you know, given worldwide. Now, with that being said, these pharmaceutical companies here in the States full of shit. Real talk. Okay. Like, because they'll sell the same drug here at 8 times the cost as Canada or Europe. And their reason for that basically is, you know, we had to recoup our money from the investments for the research. But the pharmaceutical executives getting paid. They really are. But we still need the drugs, though.
Yeah.
I got a question from a viewer, and this question actually hits home because I can identify with this. Question is, what are the chances of getting cancer when it's genetically found on both your mother and father's side, and both parents have had cancer?
Great question. So if you look at all cancers, only about 10% of them are what they call hereditary, which means that are genetic. That means 90% of cancers are either bad luck, environmental concerns or things that happen or smoking, something like that. So if you got cancer and more than one first-degree relative, so like your mom and your dad had cancer, or like, you know, 2 of your aunties and your brother or sister, you know, the biggest thing is you just need to make sure you stay on top of your checkups. You know, you don't need any automatic treatment. You don't need any automatic mastectomies, nothing like that. But you do need to make sure that you're not doing stuff to increase your risk. So if you already know you got like a family history of it, and when I say family history, I ain't talking about like one great grandma. You got a mom and a dad. You got 2 sisters. You don't want to be smoking. You want to limit how much you're drinking. I mean, I like drinking, but you want to limit how much you're drinking. Honestly, a big risk factor for cancer people don't know about, obesity. I mean, now they estimate it's probably 15-20% of all cancers we diagnose are directly because people are overweight.
Oh.
You know, so, you know, if you were to control your weight, if you was to limit your refined sugars and limit, like, you know, all the junk food. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like brownies. I like cookies. Right. But you can't be eating them every day.
Right.
You know, hell, I love bacon. Just slap shit out. You take my bacon from me.
Gracious,
But you
boy.
can't eat bacon every day. You know, all those things increase your risk, right? So if you already got a family risk, your best bet is to reduce the things you can reduce, and then stay on top of your checkups and screenings.
Man, that's good. So basically, they need to get checkups.
Yeah, because
Men need to get
you
checkups.
gotta get checkups, man.
Women need to get checkups.
Listen, you can do everything perfect. You can have somebody that's the ideal body weight, vegetarian, exercise every day, and they still have a chance of getting cancer. So there's nothing you can do to make it zero, but it's all kind of stuff you can do to reduce it.
Oh,
So you do stuff that's in your control.
I got. Okay, go ahead, real.
So just speaking of money, because we talked about money and that it needs, the funding. All right. So I know President Biden has, he's promoting the cancer moonshot, I believe, right? And that money is going towards a lot of research and everything like that. I guess my question would be, is it difficult when, or both parties, Democrat and Republicans, in your opinion, are we all on the same board, on the same playing field when it comes down to both sides really attacking and doing everything they can to help find some type of vaccine or
Right. I think so. I mean, honestly, when it comes to like politicians, I don't really think, in my personal opinion, neither one of them care about nobody except getting reelected. That's the first thing. But because cancer is on the mind of everybody, they on the same page. You understand what I mean? Like, they on that page because all their constituents ultimately get affected by cancer. They get affected by cancer. That's the great equalizer. Like, I know so many patients I got between Bradenton and Sarasota. They got all the money in China. They can't buy health, though. You know what I mean? So it affects everybody. Yeah.
So if there was a vaccine, right? Man, I ain't taking that vaccine, man. They trying to get me. They trying to
You hear that? Well, you
I
hear
ain't
that a
finna
lot,
be
boy.
no test dummy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And when people come to your office, and there is some treatment that needs to be done, and your suggestion to them is that, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Do you run into that a lot with patients that are just like, no, you're not doing that? No, no.
Oh, yeah.
And
all the time.
And how do you kind of sway or just give them the information they need in order to make a informed decision?
Gotcha.
So you mean to tell me they come to your office sick now, and you trying to tell her, hey man, you need to get this shot, and they tell you, no, I don't want no shot.
Yeah, that's just some shocking shit, ain't it? Yeah. So
Man.
I'll tell you how this, and truth be told, I'm gonna tell you how it really goes.
Yeah.
So when I first started 20 years ago, I would give somebody a recommendation, and then they'd say, no, I ain't doing that. Then I'd spend the next 10, 15 minutes like a car salesman trying to convince them to get it, why they should get it done. Rah, 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 rah. Over the time, got busy, and I started really realizing where most of my energy should be spent on people who actually want my help.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I do, I come in, same kind of thing. I give everybody the same. I tell everybody, this might be my 1000th time, but this is your first cancer. So I'm going to give you the same presentation and the same attention I give every person come in here. But now, if they come in, their arms already folded, they done already decided what they ain't going to get, I say, hey, just a second. You ain't got to argue with me. You ain't got to convince me of nothing. You came in here for an opinion. I'm going to give you an opinion. What you choose to do with that opinion is up to you, right? Now, with that being said, I only do that with people who understand what I'm saying and have decided that I don't want to do that because of my research. If I get somebody in there who truly is because they don't understand what I'm saying, I make sure I take the time to make sure they understand before I let them out with, because my worst nightmare is for somebody to leave my office not knowing more than they did when they came in. And I'll be completely honest with you, it's even more important to me when I have patients that look like us, or brown folks, or poor people, to be honest with you, people that are very oftentimes ignored. They're very oftentimes not given enough time to understand. They oftentimes are talked over. And it's been very important to me in my whole career to make sure everybody gets the same treatment, and in particular people that I know that are disenfranchised and don't normally get that. So if I got to take another 20 minutes to make sure you understand, and then you still say no, all right. But I'm going to make sure you understand at least.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of that,
He come there with attitude, man.
that made me think.
Crazy.
That just made me think when it comes down to cancer, because I believe the black community is probably more so affected when it comes down to the death rate opposed to any other race in America.
Yeah, we pretty low on it, mainly because of access, and also it's also because our just historically distrust of the medical community. You go back to Tuskegee medical experiments, and then just like you said, even though you're paying into the health insurance, you still don't want to get checked out. But a lot of it's access.
So what's the this is what I don't understand. Of course, there's more white folks in the United States than black. But I always hear this, that colon cancer and prostate cancer affects the black race more than the white race.
Right.
Is that true? If it's more whites than us,
No.
we still...
They're talking about is the absolute number of the white folks is higher, but the percentage is higher for black folks.
For black, okay.
So what ends up happening, particularly for prostate cancer, African Americans have a higher risk of developing lethal prostate cancer. So like prostate cancer that actually hurt you. The rate of prostate cancer diagnosis is like 1 in 6 in America. But when black men get diagnosed, we get diagnosed at a higher disease, like a higher grade, so that the cancer is more aggressive. They don't know whether or not it's something actually genetically, but more likely it's probably diet. It's probably, it could even be stress-wise. They've been doing some research into the fact that as a community, we undergo a whole lot more stress. So stress and inflammation play a part in cancer development. Then the last one is diagnosis in terms of access, because a lot of times we're getting PSAs later. We're not going for checkups. So we get diagnosed at a later stage, which then gives us a higher death rate from it.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one, man.
Well, I know cancer right now is rated number 2 cause of death in America, underneath heart disease.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
But it seems to me, I might be jumping off track, but AIDS and cancer seem like it's almost, they're on the same track, because they say there's no cure for AIDS and there's no cure for cancer.
Right.
But it seems like it affects the body the same, don't it? Certain cancers.
Right. So they're different from the standpoint that there are a lot of cancers we cure. A lot of cancers we cure. Like, I see people all the time, 5, 6, 10, 15 years out. So we do cure some cancers. So that's one big difference. With AIDS, what AIDS really is access. Why the medications for AIDS now, like, it's more like diabetes. So the medicines for AIDS are so good now that people actually don't die that often from it unless they don't have access to the medicines. So like I got people that's been on retrovirals for like 25 years and living good lives, HIV. In terms of how it affects the body, actually it affects the body a lot differently, because HIV then becomes AIDS, because that's when your immune system gets so compromised, right? That's when it's full-blown AIDS. And people die from AIDS from infections because their immune system don't work anymore. When someone actually dies from a cancer, it's not really because the immune system doesn't work. It's because either they die from what they call cachexia. That means that your body doesn't have enough energy because the cancer cells is taking all the energy away. Or sometimes they have strokes. Sometimes they have get pneumonias, that kind of thing. So they're different. Heart disease is its own animal, and like you said, heart disease is the only one that beats cancer out for like overall number of deaths in the U.S. And we're also black folks, we also got a problem with heart disease too, because we got high blood pressure and don't want to treat it.
Yeah, man. Right. So educate us on the stages. I be hearing like stage 1 cancer, stage 2, stage 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
So
in general, what stages do is helps us to predict what's going to happen later on. And only prediction. It more so helps us figure out as doctors what's the best kind of treatment. So stage 1 means that the cancer's been found early. It's small. A lot of times it's more highly curable if it's stage 1. Stage 4 is typically what people kind of think about like the worst kind. Because stage 4 usually means that the cancer is spread from where it started to somewhere else. Now, some cancers got like 3 stage 4s, like stage 4A, 4B, and 4C. But just in general, if it's a stage 4 cancer, it means that it went somewhere else. The majority of stage 4 cancers can't be cured, but a lot of them can be treated. I'll give you an example. Your boy Lance Armstrong, his was cured. He had full blown stage 4 cancer. He had cancer in his brain and everything. But because of the type he had and the chemotherapies worked really well, not only did he have a cure, he went and won 3 more Tour de France's afterward. So, some stage 4 cancers could be cured. Some of them, honestly, some stage 4 brain cancers, treatments just ain't good enough yet to cure. Yeah.
That was good to know because we always hear if you get stage 4, it's no coming back.
Right.
But now you just broke down as different types of stage 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Now-
I know a pastor, I'm not gonna say his name, but
Yeah.
he was diagnosed with stage 4, and he pulled through it.
Yeah.
So like you say, he might have a different type of stage 4.
Exactly, and the treatment's so much better. I guarantee you, people right now with a stage 4 prostate cancer that's living a full life. You can't even tell. I got patients who got stage 4 prostate cancer for 15 years, stage 4 breast cancer for 20 years, and still living full lives with people. So if you happen to get that diagnosis, don't lose all the faith, right? Because when people say, well, you can't cure it, right? Oh, I'm going to get taken out by this. The only game that we all going to get, no one's getting out of this game alive.
Right.
We all going to check out from something.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody want to know when, but that's not even the most important question. Important question is, what are you doing today? Like, what can we do with what we have today?
Mm-hmm.
I tell patients every single day, because I'll get this question, am I going to make it? How long I got? And I say, even if I could wave my magic wand right now and take all your cancer away, you might not make it across 64. You might have a heart attack when you go out there. And all these things have actually happened to my patients. So that's the part that people forget with reason, right? You concerned, I get it. But whenever you take that step back and really think about it, it's about today. It ain't about 2 years from now. It ain't about 5 years from now. It's about right now.
Well, Doc, man, I got 3 more questions from our viewers, and we're gonna have to wrap it up.
All right.
I know we're having such a good time, but we got 3 more questions. One question would be, do you believe in holistic treatment?
I believe in integrative medicine. And what that means is that some of those things I think work really well. Like I think acupuncture, mindful meditation, yoga, certain types of vitamins. What I don't believe in is not doing traditional medicine and then taking a bark from a tree in South America and that's going to cure your cancer. Because if it would, it wouldn't be a secret. That's why I always tell people when they say, I heard about this on this website, or, I heard about this treatment, it's going to cost me $20,000. I got people who mortgage their houses to go down to Mexico to get their own urine purified because they read somewhere that it cured the cancer. Those are people that are preying on fear. So if you go anywhere and they're trying to charge you cash money, a bunch of cash money for a cure from cancer, is bullshit by definition. Now, people get sucked into again, trying to use, different herbs and vegetables. I don't have no trouble with doing that in addition, but not instead of.
So like Dr. Sebi, I heard about Dr. Sebi. They felt like he might have had a cure in Honduras or so. Remember they were saying Dr. Sebi got a cure, and you go over there sick from the United States, come back from Dr. Sebi, you good. Mm-hmm. So you believe in that's mostly herbs, right?
Yeah,
natural cures.
And another problem with that is when people say they saw that, where they see it at? The internet. You give me 15 minutes, I go make you a website right now with all kind of cures.
Right.
Truly. And even if you know somebody personally, like, oh, I know he had this and he came back and he got better. I'm like, that's great. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for a population of people.
Right.
So then you don't give up things that actually been studied. The reason that these drugs become and these treatments become mainstays is because they can be reproduced. If you can't reproduce it at 2 or 3 different places, it's not really standard, not really real, And a lot of times people prey on fear. It's easy to get on the internet and easy to make TV shows and commercials. I got this yucca bark from the Amazon rainforest that get rid of your cancer without you being sick.
Mm-hmm.
That just sounds good. It's just I'd be willing to try it too if I ain't no better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, next question, Doc. And I think this is maybe a more personal question, but hey, if you continue going to your primary doctor and they don't find what's wrong and you're still having some stomach problems, are you willing to check that patient, or do you need referrals in order to do that? I mean, how does that work?
Gotcha. You mean like for me personally?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, as a radiation oncologist, everybody that I see has been diagnosed with cancer already.
Okay.
So I always tell all my friends and people I know, I don't want you coming through my door, but if you do, I'm gonna help you. But that means because you come to see me, you already got that diagnosis. Now, if they're not happy with the doc, they feel like they're not paying no attention to them. And again, especially with our community, I know that can happen. I got colleagues that are disgusting to me because I see how they either interact, how they talk, So my suggestion would be to get another doctor. Like, don't take no. Like if you really feel like, man, he not paying attention to me, he ain't checked enough stuff, get another doctor.
Gotcha. And the last question would be, what do we need to know about GMOs and organic foods? Is there a healthy diet that the doctor can recommend?
Awesome question. So I would say that, is it necessary to buy all organic at 50% markup? No, not at all. Now, if you got it like that and you want to buy all whole foods and organic foods, by all means. I mean, it's good stuff, ain't no question. Like, in reality, if all of us were still farmers and we was only eating food that came out, we would be better off. It's no question that the increase in cancer, both in the States and elsewhere, is directly related to the foods we're eating. So the more processed foods you eat, the more refined sugars, probably some of the GMOs, they probably all are factor in to developing cancer. But does that mean that you won't get cancer if you don't eat none of it? Nah, that doesn't mean that either. But I suggest people have as many fresh fruits and vegetables on their plate as possible. Like, a traditional thing is, like, if half of your plate is fruits and vegetables, quarter of the plate maybe some carbohydrates, quarter of the plate lean meat. I like fried chicken.
Boy,
like everybody else, right?
Me too,
but you can't eat fried chicken every day.
I can't eat it every day.
I can't eat fried chicken every day, man. It's just because it's just gonna add up, right? So I'm not one to tell people like don't eat that, because as soon as you take something away that people like, of course they're gonna end up eating. They can't stick to that. But if I tell somebody, hey, I know you like eating fried chicken 4 or 5 times a week, try to make it once, right?
Yeah.
So I can eat it every Monday.
You could eat every Monday, but
Damn,
not
boy,
not a half a chicken, not a half rack. You can get
I'm
it.
big, man. I can't only eat 2 pieces, man.
You eat 2 pieces and increase your beans and increase your salad.
So basically, black folks in trouble, man. 'Cause soul food is number one.
Hey,
Man,
man,
it's not like it's the number one killer, man. What?
it's delicious too, man. It's delicious. I still eat it, but you just had to limit it. You know what I mean? Like, you
So
can
in other
have.
words, if they're eating collard greens, take the ham hocks out of it. Just eat the greens.
That's a hard one because I get a lot of flavor. I'd say, I'd say you still got to have that in it, but maybe you just don't eat the collard greens with everything as often. Maybe you switch it up, eat some broccoli now and then.
Yeah.
The kind of vegetables, I ain't gonna lie to you, my mama never made. Only
What?
vegetables we had in my house was greens and green beans.
Yeah.
She made
Yeah.
corn out the can and I hated it, so all I had was 2 things. You get a little older, see a little bit more. I drop some broccoli on there. I eat some asparagus. You get some of them mixed Oriental vegetables, like stir fry joints.
Yeah.
I mean, them good.
Well, we in trouble, man.
Oh, you can do it. You can
But
do
the
it.
thing is, I know we can do it, but it's hard, man, when you was raised up
Damn hard.
on soul food. I'm talking about traditionally raised up on it.
Oh yeah.
Great grandmas, mamas, aunties.
Oh yeah. That's all we had too growing up. I grew up in Detroit, and my grandma was from Georgia. Everybody in Detroit, people from Alabama, Georgia. Everybody. So grandma with chitlins, which I hate, but
Yeah.
chitlins in there.
Hog maw.
Fried chicken, pig's feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greens, cabbage, and you ain't gonna have no cabbage or no greens without some pig's feet and hogs in it. I mean, ham.
Real. There's a lot of people listening right now saying,
Getting
man, I don't give
hungry.
a damn what the doctor said. I'm gonna eat me some soul
Exactly.
food, man.
Exactly.
There's some cats right now listening right now to a man, forget doctor, man.
Exactly.
I'm going to Popeyes tonight.
And
Get a family order.
And my answer to them is that all I'm saying is just try to limit it when you can. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't do everything right. But if you can pick 1 or 2 things, right? Let's say you still eating your fried chicken.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you start going on some runs, right? Maybe you say, you know what? I'm going to try to lose some weight. I'm going to try to get in the weight room. I'm going to do something else to try to counteract that. You can't do it all bad either. I got people that come see me for lung cancer with a pack of Cools hanging out their pocket. I say, bro.
Come on, man.
I say, bro, you go carry the Cools in here? Like,
Yeah.
You go
You go to the cancer doctor with cigarettes.
You gonna do me like that, dog?
With lung cancer.
with lung cancer,
It's wild, dog. The wildest one. This happened way back in the day. This guy came in there, old vet. He had a laryngectomy. They take out your whole thing. Got a little windpipe right here.
Oh.
My man came in there.
No, not through the pipe. Come on, man. Come on,
Hey,
Dog,
You
hey.
did not see that.
Come on.
You did not. No,
Oh,
that.
hey, dog, hold on, dog. It used to be a commercial with the lady used to be on a commercial. So you mean a man was smoking a cigarette through the hole?
Through the hole, bro.
How you do that?
With an inhale.
Dog, okay, look, dog. I know you supposed to laugh, man.
But you
If
got
I'm
to
the
because
doctor, man, they come in there smoking out the hole. I gotta do that. How in church, they do this right here.
Yeah.
I gotta go laugh somewhere.
man, I'm to the point now. I be like this.
Yeah, I know, man. Jeez.
With the hole in the throat, they
Hold it
smoking
though,
through.
dog. Yeah, that's how bad cigarettes is. So my other message is like, don't even start cigarettes.
Yeah.
Don't even start because that shit there hook you more than heroin. I've had people
okay.
on heroin, cigarettes, and cocaine all at once, and they was like, I could stop the heroin and cocaine. I couldn't stop the smoking.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm glad you said that. Okay. So the new wave is vape.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know yet if vaping may have some effect on long-term effects on people yet?
We don't know yet because it ain't been out long enough, but it definitely ain't safe. I mean, because not only you still getting the tobacco, now you're getting the metals that's getting burnt off in that vape pen.
Okay.
We have no idea what those metals are doing.
Okay.
You know, so it's only time gonna be told on that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what about cigars? They say cigars you don't inhale, you just.
Truthfully, cigars probably better than cigarettes, probably. But you know, as a doctor, I can't officially recommend you smoke them. But
Yeah.
you know, same thing with smoking weed. Like, there's no way that weed is nearly as bad for you as drinking or cigarettes, but it ain't good for you either, right? You know, so you should limit all of that stuff, right?
Right.
Cigarettes you shouldn't smoke at all. It ain't, is nothing redeeming about cigarettes. It's only bad. It's like 14 different cancers on top of heart disease you get from smoking. So smoking is by far the worst thing you could possibly do. I'm talking like stroke, heart attack, lung cancer, bladder cancer, prostate cancer, stomach cancer. The list doesn't end.
Wow.
But yet, still, you got billions of dollars being made off of smoking, right? You know, so
That's crazy.
yeah, it's
And it's crazy because when you say, weed or whatever, but, that's not legal in Florida, but the cigarettes are. And we know the effects. And it still happens, and people still making a bunch of money.
Mhm.
And, it's sad now. It's become one of the situations where, hey, we got to make this money. And you know the effects, so that's your choice if you decide to smoke or not. But
Right.
it's crazy to me.
yeah.
Doc, man, it's been a pleasure. But before we end the show, we have this segment that we call Truth and Share.
All right.
All right, so it's our version of Truth and Dare.
Yeah.
Of course, we ain't gonna ask you to go out there and put anything in your mouth and smoke a little cigarette right now. Say if you lose, we won't do that to you.
All right.
But we will ask that you pick a card. You're gonna read that card out loud, and then just tell us the truth behind it.
You got it.
All right.
Uh-oh, dog.
All right. What is the weirdest way you've ever met someone you now consider a close friend? Man, the weirdest way. Actually, to be honest with you, it's probably Dominic. Probably Dominic Harris. I met Dominic. I was in Bradenton for 1 year. I started my job, and I used to live in Northwest Bradenton.
Okay.
Northwest Bradenton, for those who don't know, is about the whitest part of Bradenton you can live in. So I was like, ain't no black folks here. Because I would go to work and go home, right? One day, I was driving down. I used to go to my office in Sarasota. It was on Fruitville and Lockwood Ridge. I'd always take 41 down. One day, I got somewhere I was at, took 301 down, hit that light at 301 and King. I looked to the right. I said, holy shit. I said, they done transported all the blacks. I bust a right turn and drove down. I was like, I said, they caged the whole area up? Because I had been all through Sarasota. I'm like, why is everybody in one area?
Right.
So that's when I first found out about Newtown. Fast forward about 6 months later, I had been here about a year. August 2007. I had a friend who was a news reporter. She sent me an email. She was like, local plumber starts mentor group in Newtown. So I was like, oh, shit, I don't know about Newtown. I just found out about it. I was like, I used to do stuff with Big Brothers Big Sisters when I was in med school. So it said they meet every Thursday at 6 o'clock. I got the email at 4:30. I said, I should be done with clinic at about 5. I can make it down there. I'm going to go check it out. So I went down there, sat around the table. The group had been going on for about 3 months. He started in April. And, you know, it was all kids who reminded me so much of myself growing up in the city. They looked just like me, like in the mirrors. Mm-hmm. And I had 3 sons, all of which were about the same age. And it hit me. I was like, any of my kids could be down in this group right now. 90% of the kids didn't have father figures at home. And I said, the only difference between those kids and my kids is the fact they was born in my house. I said, that don't even seem right. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm not willing to do something about it, who will be? So I went up to Dominic after that meeting and said, I'll see you back next week, bro. And it's been 17 years now.
That's a perfect segue, man. That's awesome. I'm glad that card got chosen.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you talk about meeting Dominic and the mentoring group, which is
Brotherhood of Men.
Brotherhood of Men, that's in Sarasota. That's been going on for, some time now.
16 years now.
And the you know, Dominic and the uncles and the aunts, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I had a good time out there,
all the
man.
mentors and stuff like that,
First
man.
time coming was this last.
I just give you guys a bunch of credit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what you're doing with the kids, and I see it. I saw it firsthand. Great program, great mentors. The kids are great. You guys take field trips. You guys have raised money to do so many different things with the kids, man. I just commend you and all the other uncles and aunties that's involved in it. Black and white, it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
It's just all about the kids.
Exactly.
I mean, it is truly about the kids.
Truly.
In that program.
In the 16 years we've done that group, never has one person got paid. Never. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why the group has lasted, because everybody doing it for the right reasons.
Right.
Yep. Everybody doing it from the heart, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could say this, man. 2 things. We're going to end. I know right now, currently, the advocate office is located in, at least one of them is located in Lakewood Ranch.
No, actually, we're on State Road 64.
State Road 64. Okay.
Yeah.
And I say that because a lot of times our folks have to go to Tampa for treatments and stuff like that. But your office.
Oh, yeah, you ain't got to go to Tampa. I know all the folks up there. So a lot of times what ends up happening is, even if you want to go get another opinion in Moffitt, it's all good, but you don't have to go every day for radiation. Radiation goes on for as short as 1 week to up to 9 weeks, right? Driving an hour and 15 minutes each way is crazy when I got the same equipment here, and we got the same protocols. So I got patients, you know, all through Palmetto, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch area. So I always encourage them, just know we're here, you know, and basically we're here to help community-wise.
Because a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people always go to Tampa for treatment. That's all I hear. I got to go to Tampa.
Right.
Tampa.
No, I got exact same machines, trained in the same places.
It is right here.
Right.
In the backyard, man.
Right in the backyard.
Backyard.
Stop going away to Tampa, man.
Man, I'm just,
And another part of that is just sitting here speaking with you, and I read an article, and I'm going to agree wholeheartedly with that article. And it talked about how you build a rapport with your clients, how you talk to them, you make the most complex things sound more simpler. Right. And that's what we need. You know, I can't understand that, man. Just make it sound layman terms. What are you saying? Right. And that feel good, and I bet that all has to do with why you have been rated one of the top doctors in this area. So I want to say just thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the job well done. Thank you for what you're doing for the kids.
Appreciate
what
it.
you're doing for your clients. Thank you for just allowing us this hour. I like to call it power hour.
Yeah, man.
Of
Thanks for the invite.
us.
Thanks for the invite. Seriously, I appreciate
really,
it.
really thank you, man, for educating me on my brother, man.
Yeah,
You
Burkitts.
know, my brother that I never talk about, you know, but this whole week, man, I've been talking to him.
Yeah, that's awesome,
And
man.
just to get the answers, you know, and now I can really feel what my mom was going through.
Yeah.
You know, back then, you know, for her to hear the doctors basically say,
That's rough.
it ain't nothing we can do.
Right.
And my brother was 11, died at 12, and I was about 9 to 10.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
like we say, it's luckily it is better.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the biggest thing I want everybody to remember from it is, like, you know, as frustrating as it might be that it's not a cure, survival is getting better, treatments are getting better. So it really is progress in the right direction.
Good. Green, man, you know, you always give these flowers, baby. You got any flowers?
Yeah, man, I'm giving Doc all the flowers today, man. I mean,
Appreciate that.
man. Like I say, this was real touchy to me, you know, and so I'm gonna give my flowers to you, man. just to be sitting in my barbershop with a black doctor,
Appreciate you, man.
African American doctor. I'm talking about he ain't mixed. He ain't got nothing mixed in him, man. I'm here from Detroit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where the bad water at?
That's Flint.
Huh?
That's Flint got that bad
Flint?
water.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
bad. Yeah, my ex-wife's from Flint. That's why I know that. That's why that bad water.
Hey, man, hey, boy, look, man. We ain't trying to start no.
Hey, right. Hey, but I love Flint
Well,
too.
man,
I love
listen,
Flint too.
Listen, man. I really appreciate this show. I was waiting on it, and man, Doc, man, big ups to you, man.
Hey,
Keep
appreciate
doing
y'all.
Good work, man.
Y'all too.
And I hope the community was listening tonight.
Yeah.
Man, we got a black African American doctor here, man. That's educate you guys on cancer, man.
My pleasure, man.
Cancer is big in our community.
Yeah, my
You ain't got
pleasure.
to go to Tampa, man. That man say right down 64, man.
Yeah.
Pass Publix, man. Pass that chicken. Don't get that public chicken before you go see the dog, man.
Well, most definitely the most informative show that we've had to this date.
Yeah.
Green, man, but you know, we always say you not only you get flower, but you always say something. You
Man,
know what
I
I'm
always
saying?
say this, dog, man. Everybody can talk, but everybody don't tell the truth.
You know what I'm saying?
Dog, you told the truth tonight, dog.
I tried, man.
Yes,
We
sir.
appreciate you,
You.
man.
All right, now
And
appreciate
listen,
y'all
man,
too.
that's truth be told, man. From the bottom of my heart, you know, I hope you guys join us next week. We'll be back same time, 6:30, with another guest. But hey, we out, baby.
We out, man.
Truth be told.
We out.
Truth, really, that's all we know. Keep it real and authentic. This truth be told, only the truth. Tune in, cause you gotta watch. It's like you with us while we kick it in the barbershop. Here to motivate and inspire. Hosted by the real deal and the God Barber. I hope that you ready. Keep it funny and edgy. Let's go. You already know. Truth be told. Let's go.